ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. హరి ఓం. ఓం బ్రహ్మ సత్యం జగన్మిథ్యా జీవో బ్రహ్మైవ నాపరః అనేన వేద్యం సచ్ఛాస్త్రమితి వేదాంత డిండిమః. దిస్ ఈజ్ శంకరాచార్యస్ Brahma Jnanavali Malas, one of the slokas. Says Brahma Satyam. Brahma is the only reality. Jagan Mithya. That is the world that we see with our temporary senses. Temporary because we ourselves are temporary. Is Mithya. That is, it's a make-believe perception. Because it is transient. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. But the Jiva, that is all of us. We are functioning with the help of the Chaitanyam that is inside us. Therefore, in reality, we are that Chaitanyam, not this body and these things which would perish anyway with time. So, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Jivo is not different from Brahma, but we do not realize that. We do not understand that. So, any Shastram, that is any source of knowledge that teaches this really, is the real Shastra. Anena Vejjam Satshastram, one that tells you about this thing, teaches you this. That is the only real Shastra. Iti Vedanta Dindimaha, that's the essence of Vedanta. It's like beating a drum, and that's how it is telling us so strongly. That's what it says. So this is also the subject matter that leads us to Purusha Suktam. So today, welcome all of you to the Purusha Suktam. I will try to give in a very short talk the essence of Purusha Suktam. The Purusha Suktam occurs in all the Vedas, and many sages wrote on the importance of this Purusha Suktam. And because of its significance and broad subject matter, it is used in most of the pujas. That is, most pujas have multiple steps, typically 16 steps called Shodasopachara Puja. Purusha Suktam verses are invoked before each particular step of the puja. So next time when you go to the temple, if you carefully listen, you would notice that the Purusha Suktam was being recited. That's why the pujas are called Purusha Sukta Vidhanena. That is according to Purusha Suktam. So the Purusha Suktam itself is actually into three major parts. One is Purusha, that is the infinite, the almighty, the reality, the only reality. That is the only source of everything we see. This is the essence of all the Upanishads. That is, everything came from him. So it tells us about how the Paramatma created the firstborn called Virat Purusha. And then it describes how Virat Purusha is the source of all the manifest creation, physical creation that we all see. And then, along with the physical creation, it also tells us how all various creatures, various things and various bodies, including the spatial things, cosmic planets, everything that came from him. It tells us that. Then the third part is how do we realize what is that Antaryami, that Brahman? Just now we talked about Chaitanyam. Why can't we realize that Chaitanyam? How do we go about doing this? So it explains that is done through what is called a yajna. Yajna means it's not a physical rite, but it is also here mental yajna. That is, whatever perceptions you had about this universe, which is solely through your senses, that itself is not real because it's transient. So one has to go beyond that to be able to really feel that Chaitanyam in us. That is to eventually to identify ourselves with Paramatma. So to get to that, you have to sacrifice in the sense you have to overcome the physical world that you are seeing and don't get involved in it as though it is permanent. You have to do what you need to do. That is, as long as the body is there, we have certain obligations we have to do. But all the time, with the realization that this is all transient and you only see Paramatma, Brahman in everything, Sarvam Brahmamaya. To To do that, you have to overcome. To overcome this, that's what this yajna is. That is the third part of Purusha Suktam. So it talks about sacrificing the very Virat Purusha, which is represents the entire manifest creation. That is the third part. So these three parts are described in 18 verses, and important part is, why do we need to worry about this? Why should we care? That is because we all want happiness. What is true happiness? The true happiness is only when you go beyond the daily tribulations. Because we have ego, that is aham bhavam or ahankaram, that is created by the senses. Maybe by the time we are 1 year or 2 years old, we knew that we have an identity. We see other people and we also see we are different. So we start getting ego. The ego is about me, mine, my things, my importance, and we want everybody to accept us and to praise us, all kinds of things. And people seek power, all kinds of. So this is the ego is the source of all desires, and desires create sorrows because desires create more desires. They never can be extinguished. And then they create anxieties and fears. That's why we only have, if we have temporary sukham or happiness, that's temporary. Most of the time we are in dukkha. That is, think about what you don't have all the time. That's what we keep thinking about. So, to get to real happiness, you have to overcome these senses. So, happiness is the essence of it. That's the reason for it. That's why Vivekananda, in all his lectures, he starts with happiness. Understand what is true happiness, not this temporary happiness. These waves of sukha and dukkha moving around every day and with all kinds of things. So this Purusha Suktam, through that mental yajna that I mentioned, it leads you to that realization of Paramatma, which leads you to what is called Brahmanandam, the eternal happiness. Taittiriya Upanishad, in its second chapter, that's called Brahmanandavalli, that explains this, what is that Brahmanandam. And so once we have that, we still keep functioning in this world. It's not as though we are escaping, but we do with a different perspective. That is not because of ego, not because of selfishness, not because involved in all these things that are transient and temporary, meaningless. But we don't spend too much time, we don't pay so much attention once we have that attitude. I mean, like Sage Vasishtha, for example, he used to go to Rama's court every day. Why was he going? If he was asked for something, some advice he would give, otherwise he will be watching it. That is, he had a different perspective of what is going on around him. He had nothing to desire, no request, no. So he is beyond. He participates at the same time being beyond. I will give you an example. You go to a film, which is a horror film, for example. This movie is very. You are scared of it and you sit on the edge of the chair, but you don't run away from theater. Why? Somewhere in the consciousness, you know that you are safe in the theater. In the same way, we have to have that consciousness in the mind all the time of Paramatma, and then function. Then the way we function is different. Then we have what is called internal sukha, and that is antasukhi. When you have the internal sukham, even outside you spread the sukham called bahisukhi. Antasukhi, bahisukhi. So that is the purpose of this whole thing. That's why we need to worry about, all the teachings we need to really learn and we need to practice. We need to realize that. Otherwise, like, we'll be born and, we just fill our lives with everyday same kind of things, and then it become anonymous and then go away, part of the history. So the question is to being happy while living. That is the purpose of the Vedanta. So, and then at the end, the Purusha Suktam says, this is the only method. That is realizing the Paramatma by sacrificing everything above senses, by going there. Tamevam vidvan amrutaya bhavati nanya pantha ayanaya vijyate. That's what it says at the end of the Purusha Suktam. That is, this is the only way left. There is no other method. So with that, now let's go to Purusha Suktam. Purusha Suktam usually recited with a Shanti mantra. So I will first recite the Shanti mantra. Om Tachamyoravruneemahe Gatum Yajjaya Gatum Yajjapataye Daivi Swastinastunaha Swastirvanushebhyaha Urdhvanjagatu Bheshajam Shamno Astu Dvipade Sham Chatushpade Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So basically it says, we worship and pray the most auspicious and blissful Supreme Brahman to make us free from all these worldly afflictions. May our worship become successful. May we always sing the praise of the Lord during the holy ceremonies. May the blessings of all gods be with us. May peace and tranquility be with all mankind. May all medicinal herbs grow in potency for the removal of all diseases. May all the two-legged creatures be happy, and may all the four-legged creatures also be happy. That is both people as well as animals. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace. So that is the Shanti mantram. Now let us start with the first verse of Purusha Suktam. Om Sahasrasirisha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Svabhumim Vishwato Vrutva Achatishthad Dashangulam. The Purusha, that is the universal consciousness, has 1,000 heads. 1,000 means, Sahasra means here meaning infinite. That is all this creation, everything is His. 1,000 eyes and 1,000 feet, that's what it says. That is signifying the omnipresence of the universal being and is also immanent in all. That is, the creation came from Him, but He is also immanent in the creation, Antaryami. He pervades the entire universe and extends beyond by 10 inches, Dashangulam. Here 10 inches means in all the 10 directions. He is spread everywhere. He is there everywhere. That's what this says. Here, I'll keep using the word awareness is what we get from our senses and through our mind. Whereas consciousness is universal consciousness. That is the Brahmanda, that is Akhanda consciousness, universal consciousness. That is the our Chaitanya. That is consciousness. Whereas what we have a limited awareness through our senses and mind, we use the word awareness. Now this first mantram is recited during Avahan, that is invoking the Lord before starting puja. There are several variations locally, different local pujas invoke in different ways, but I am just giving you some examples that are normally, commonly practiced. So you would see that the first one, this is recited during Avahanam of the puja. The second one is Purusha evedagum sarvam yad bhutam yatyabhavyam utamrutatvasya yadanne natirohati. The Purusha is indeed all this. Purusha evedagum sarvam. All this creation is His. Whatever existed in the past and which will exist in the future is also He alone. Yad bhutam yatyabhavyam, everything is He. He is the Lord and immortal essence of all creation, including gods, and transcends the mortal state of all creatures sustained by food. That is, yadanne natirohati, that is those who people like us, we are all called annagatis, that is we have to eat food to survive. All the creatures are like that. So He is beyond all these creatures that are sustained by food. That is all the manifest living beings. This is recited during asana, that is while offering the seat for the Paramatma during the puja. And let's go to the third one. Etavanasya mahima ato jayagumsya purushaha padoosya vishva bhutani Tripadasya divi. The Purusha's greatness is beyond all perceptions. That is sensory perceptions here in the manifest universe. Only 1/4, that meaning a very small part of His power, is the cause of all this universe. And the remaining 3/4, meaning the only reality, rest in the immortal consciousness. Beyond the 3 states of awareness, we have 3 states of awareness: waking, dream sleep, and deep sleep. So He is beyond all these 3 and also 3 gunas. That is Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas. So he is beyond all these things, and that is the other three quarters. Here the word quarters is used basically to say that very small part of his greatness is cause for this particular creation. This is recited during Pajam, that is giving water to his feet. Then the fourth one, Tripadurdhaudait Purushaha Pado Seha Bhavat Punaha Tato Vishwagum Vyakramatu Sasananasane Abhi. The three quarters of the Purusha that we mentioned earlier, he is in the transcendental realm, beyond the universe of change and beyond our universal recognition through our senses, awareness through our senses. In the one quarter of his power, that is in a small part which I mentioned earlier, the creation happens again and again. Pado Seha Bhavat Punaha. Again and again. You know the cycles of creation, all the yugas, they come back and they go, people come, people go, and they again come. So the creation continues. This is the continuity of the creation is also explained in Bhagavad Gita and some Upanishads also, as though it's called a vruksham, that is a tree with its roots up and then branches in the bottom. The leaves keep going, branches keep going, but the tree will be there all the time. That's the creation process. Within the creation again, he pervades in all the living beings. All those that eat and those that do not eat. That is Sasena Nasane Abhi. That is even like hills. And those that do not eat. And those who are living beings that eat. So it is entire creation, just to say that particular thing. This is normally recited while offering Argyam. Argyam is water to wash hands. Now let's go to fifth verse. Tasmaad virada jayata virajo adhipurushaha sajato accharichata paschad bhuvimadho puraha. From Purusha was born the Virat. This is a very important verse here because it now tells you first time, after telling about the greatness of the Purusha, that is the infinite, the Paramatma, how Virat Purusha came from here. That's why he is called the firstborn. That is, there is the Brahmanda, the cosmic egg, from which the Virat Purusha came. He is the source, sometimes referred to as Brahma and other things also. The entire creation came from him. The physical manifestation is identified with Virat Purusha. And at the same time, the shining Purusha is also the background cause. Virajo Adhipurushaha. So the Virat Purusha, through him, then came all the universe of various cosmic objects, earth and gods, humans and animals of various kinds. Sajato Accharichata Paschad Bhumimadho Puraha. So all these bodies and all the earth, body means here the Pura, body is called Pura because it's called with 9 doors, a city with 9 doors. That's what is called the bodies. Pura means body here. In general, Virat Purusha represents the macro version of all cosmic physical creation. And also sometimes the word Hiranyagarbha is used, you might have heard that. That represents the macro version of all subtle bodies, that is Sukshma Sarira. So these are all interchangeable, sometimes used interchangeably. So this particular verse is recited while offering a sip of water to drink, that is called Achamanam. So in the 16 steps of puja, I am mentioning again each time what particular step for which this mantra is used. Again, as I said earlier, there are some local variations. It's not a hard and fast rule. Verse 6. Yat purushena havisha deva yajnamatanvata vasanto asya sidajyam grishma idmasyaradhavihi. With the Purusha now, he is the sacrificial being, as I mentioned earlier. That is, all the sensory perceptions have to be sacrificed in this mental yajna. This is carried out by devas and sages, that's what it says. They continued this manasa yajnam with the oblation being the phenomenal universe of creation, which is identified with the Virat Purusha. And then what do they do for the yajna? They need fuel. The fuel they use is summer. This is the fuel when the dry fuel is abundant. That is, it's talking about time also, not only the material universe, but also the time. Summer is used as the dry fuel. Autumn is used as havis. And the entire collection of phenomenal creation and time were offered here as oblation, including even rainy season also. That's when the clarified butter is offered. So these things, depending on which season what comes, naturally they are given as examples offered. In other sense, here all the three, all the each of them represents the two seasons. So the entire 6 seasons are offered. The time also is offered as part of the sacrifice. So that means we are mentally going beyond the physical universe in all its aspects, both in space and in time. So this is recited offering a cloth before bath, that is madhuparkam. That is, before actually giving bath, you also give a cloth to the Paramatma. Madhuparkam is called madhuparkam. And then let's go to the seventh one. Saptayasyasan paridhayah trisapta samidha krutaha deva yajjajjam tanvanaha avadhran purusham pasum. The yajna site has 7 entities representing various priests placed around it. Paridhayah. According to Maitrayani Upanishad, the 7 pardhis are earth, water, fire, air, space, ego, and mind stuff. Mind stuff includes Manobuddhi, Hankara, Chittam, all the 4 aspects of the mind. So these 7, they are the Paridhaya. They are there around, they are like priests. And then Saptasvyasan Paridhaya, then Trisapta Samidha Krutaha. 21 Trisaptaha Samidha. What are those 21? These are all 5 great elements. That is the Panchamahabhutas, 5 instincts, Tanmatras. That is, each of our senses also have what's called Tanmatra associated with, like sound is Tanmatra for hearing, like that. 5 instincts, 5 sense organs, Jnanendriyas, 5 action organs, Karmendriyas, and mind stuff, Antahkaranam. So these together they are 21, including Antahkaranam. And there are several interpretations to it. And one other interpretation is that 21 are time, seasons. 12 months, 5 seasons. 2 winter seasons are combined into 1 season, Hemant and Sisra Rutu. And 3 worlds, Bhurbhuva Swaha, that is earth, space and heavens, and the sun. That's another interpretation given in several other places also for these things, for this particular 21. So this way the gods carried out the yajna. And then what did they do? They bound the Virat Purusha as the sacrificial animal, Pashuhu, as oblation. Avadhan Purusham Pasum, sacrificing, that means sacrificing all the awareness of phenomenal awareness in order to realize this Adhipurusha. That is the ultimate reality. So that is in the meditation, that's what you do. You go beyond all these senses. So this one is recited with usually with snanam, that is the giving bath. Let's go to 8th. Tam yajnam barhishif praukshan purusham jatamagrataha tena deva ayajanta sadhyarushayaschaye. This verse says the firstborn Virat Purusha was sprinkled with holy water in preparation for the yajna, that is the mental yajna we talked about. With that, the gods, sages, and the liberated ones, that is Deva, Harushis, and Sadhyas, they proceeded to perform the yajna. Those who achieved that liberation through this intense practice called sadhana, they are called Sadhyas. So this says that Devas and Rishis and the Sadhyas have done this, and they accomplished their goal of actual liberation. That is the liberation here means identification with the Paramatma in all aspects. This is recited offering a pair of clothes after bath, that is Vastra Yugmam. Usually there are 2 pieces of cloth are offered, that's why it's called Vastra Yugmam. Let's go to 9. तस्मात् यज्ञात् सर्वहुतः संभृतं पृषदाज्यं पशुस्तागुंश्चक्रे वायव्यान् आरण्यान् ग्रामाश्चये. Gramyasche, Aranya. That is, we are talking about various creatures that came out. This yajna, out of this Sarvahut yajna. Tasmat yajnat Sarvahutaha. That is, everything is offered in this. That's why it's called Sarvahuta yajna. It's oblation of all kinds. From that yajna in which the Virat Purusha was offered as sacrificial offering, the ghee mixed with yogurt got Pushadajam. That was obtained. And then the animals, those that fly in the air, that are birds, those that roam in forests, wild animals, Aranyan, Gramyasche, and those in the villages, domesticated animals, they were also created. So this is recited with offering a sacred thread, that is Yajnopvitam. At that time this is offered. Then let's go to number 10. Tasmat yajnat sarvahutah ruchasamani jajnire chandagum sijajnire tasmat ijus tasmada jayata. From the complete offering, again as mentioned, that is sarvahutah of this Virat Purusha. Then came the Rigveda during this yajna, Samaveda, the Chandas, that is various meters for the Vedas, and also for poetry, and the Yajurveda. They were all born. So that is all the Vedas were mentioned here. The Atharva Veda was not particularly mentioned as because it includes many of these Vedic things, that Vedic mantras, and it came a little later. That's why it includes these things. Atharva Veda is included in this. So this is decided while offering Gandham, that is the flavoring. That is after the bath and after Vastram, after Yajnopvitam, then you offer Gandham. Let's go to 11. Tasmadashva ajayanta eke chobhayadataha gavo hijajjire tasmat jata ajavayaha. From that Virat Purusha was born horses, all those animals that have teeth in both jaws, cows, sheep, and goats. So that is the variety. All the variety of this creation also came from there, Sarvam, that is the source of all creation. So Virat Purusha represents all this. That's what it is saying. And we saw earlier the shine or the energy of the Virat Purusha is actually the source, is Paramatma himself. So this is recited while offering flowers, that is Pushpa. Now let's go to 12. Yat Purusham Vyadaduhu Katidapya Kalpayan Mukham Kimascha Kaubahu Ka Uru Pada Uchete. What did the Virat Purusha hold within him when he was created? What is his body? Can we describe it? How many parts were there in his huge form? What was his face? What were his arms like? What was said about his thighs and his feet? It is asking about some questions about Virat Purusha itself. And then the Purusha Suktam goes further saying how different things came from the Virat Purusha. Brahmanosya mukhamasit bahu rajanyah krutah uru tadasya yadvaisyah padbhyam shudro ajayata. The Brahmans, that is thinkers who pursued the study of practices concerning the Purusha, the ultimate reality, they formed his face. The Kshatriyas, those that pursue militaristic activities, protecting the society, they came from his arms. The Vaisyas, those that are merchants and practice business activities to help society, came from his thighs. And the Shudras, those who performed service activities, they were born from his feet. This is normally offered while showing light, that is Deepam. Here it's important to remember that when these four aspects, that is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudras are mentioned, they are not mentioned as castes. They are mentioned as professions. What happened is over the years, over the centuries, since the profession of in a particular family, they follow the same profession. Eventually, we identified these professions with castes, and then you have all this equal, unequal, all those kinds of things happen. But that's not correct. All professions are equally important to the society, and they are equally respectable. That's very important. So what is intended here is that verse that all people, no matter what professions they pursue, they all came from Virat Purusha. That's very important to remember. So those that realize Brahma reach beyond body and mind, regardless of how they were born or what professions they pursued. It doesn't matter. There are many great sages who realized Brahman, but who were not Brahmins by birth. So it is not birth that matters. Adi Shankaracharya stressed this view in many of his commentaries. For example, he says in Manisha Panchakam, if you know, during a visit to Varanasi, he comes across a Chandala, and then his Shishya say, no, move away, move away. And then the Chandala asks the question, whom do you want to move away? Is this body, is this mind, who am I? It's actually Lord Shiva who came in the form of Chandala. And then in Manisha Panchakam, he says, Ittam yasya drudha matihi sukatare niche pare nirmale chandalostu satidvijostu guru richesha manisha mama. One who has attained this definite realization about Brahman, which is bliss itself, eternal, supreme and pure, he is my guru. Whether he is an outcast or a Brahmin or everything, it doesn't matter. So we should not interpret this verse as though the Upanishad Suktam is sanctioning the caste system. It's not a caste system. It simply says that people form different professions, and that's all what it is. And all professions are equally important to the society. Let's go to the 14. Chandrama manaso jataha chaksho surjo ajayata mukadindraschagnischa pranadvayurajayata. The moon came from Virat Purusha's mind, the sun from his eyes, Indra, the leader of the gods, and Agni, fire, from his mouth, and Vayu, the air, from his breath. They all came from there. That's what it says. This is recited while offering food, Naivedjam. Let's go to 15. Nabhya asidantariksham Sirshno jau samavartata Padhyam bhumirdasha shrotrat Tadha lokagum akalpayan. From his navel, the interstellar space came, the antariksha, the intermediate space between heaven and earth. From his head, the heavens. From his feet, the earth. And from his ears, the directions. In this manner, all the physical creation, with names and shapes, were created from him, from Virat Purusha. Tatha lokagum akalpayan. Everything came from him. This is recited while offering betel leaves, tamburam. Again, when I say these things are offered or recited at the tambulam, again I am giving one particular practice, general practice. But things change in different locations. Now let's go to the 16. This is now an important sloka. It says that somebody who went through this mental yajna and who realized the Paramatma, he is saying this. Vedahametam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasastu pare sarvani rupani vichichya dhiraha namani krutva bhivadhanu yadaste. Says, I know him. That is Vedahametam, that Purusham, Mahantam, of the cause of all forms, cause of all names. I know him, I realize him. That's what he says. That means it is assuring us that if you follow the path and if you do that meditation and go beyond the senses, one can reach that. And then that's what he is saying. And he maintains all of these, that glorious Purusha, brilliant as the sun, who is beyond darkness and who is the cause of all forms. Namani krutva bhivadanu edaste. So it's giving us an assurance that you go through this meditation and to go beyond these senses and then realize that Paramatma. It is possible for everyone. That is, these are not just mere statements and mere suggestions for us, but people who traveled that path. That's what they are telling us. Now let's go to the 17. And that truth, that just as this man said that he understood Paramatma and he realized him, that is again restated in this 17. Om Dhata Purastad Yamuda Jahara Sakrah Pravidvan Parisascharasraha Tam Evam Vidvan Amrita Bhavati Nanyah Pantha Ayanaya Vijyate. Brahma, the creator of the material universe, saw the Supreme Being and realized it that in the beginning. Dhata Purastad Yam Udajahar. He realized this. Not only that, Sakraha, that is Indra, he also knew well and he spread this message in all directions. Pradishas Chatasraha. Then it says, Tamevam Vidva Namrita Iha Bhavati. This is what I quoted right in the beginning. One who knows him in this manner, only he becomes immortal. Immortal means realize him. There is no more birth and death. That is, these things are just happen. It may happen in the body and that's all what it is. But you won't identify yourself with the body anymore. Tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanyah pantha ayanaya vijyate. It also says to achieve liberation, there are no other paths. Otherwise you go through this process, live through normal things, living in the physical world, do things what you keep doing. Again born, again die, again born. Then we have to go through the cycles. That is Punarjanma cycle. What it says is, to get liberation from it, this is the only path. That is through meditation, through mental yajna, going before senses, going beyond our physical awareness and reaching the cosmic consciousness. This is a very, very important verse. This is normally recited while offering the sacred flowers at the end of puja, mantra pushpam. Doing that one. Now the last verse, 18. Yajnena yajnamayjanta devaha tani dharmani pradhamanyasan tehanakam mahimanasya chante yatra purve sajhas santi devaha. The devas thus performed the mental yajna by contemplating on the Purusha, that is the light of all lights and behind everything, Akhanda Chaitanyam. They realized the Dharma, the only truth, the one Purusha that existed from the beginning. That is the only Dharma. Tani Dharmani Pradhamanyasan. So that is the only truth. They realized that. So by meditating on the greatness of the blissful Purusha, spiritual aspirants can also reach the same success as the gods and sadhyas. Again, it's giving us an assurance. Here is a path. There are other people who travel this path. And if you have real, serious interest in who we are, how we function, what it is, what drives us, what makes this world, where it came from. Like Shankaracharya says, who am I? Koham, who am I? Kadamidam jatam, where did it come from? Ko vai vijjasya kartate. Who did all this manifest creation? So those questions, Upadanam kimastiha, with what did he do this world? So all these questions, philosophy or Vedanta, the purpose of Vedanta is to give answers to these four questions. Just four questions. Koham kadamidam jatam kovai vijjasya kovai upadanam kimasti. So these four questions are answered, and that as a kind of what it's obligatory on our part. Just as we do space exploration and undersea exploration and everything, we also have to explore, who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I? Again, as I said earlier, we have three states of consciousness. So when someone asks you, who are you? How are you? Then you should ask really, which particular am I are you talking about? Am I the waking body, or the dream one, or the deep sleep one? We have three states of awareness. So to overcome all these things and to really realize what drives us, what is that internal, that chaitanyam, that light that makes us function, we need to understand. That spirit of exploration is the one that this entire thing, this Purusha Suktam tells us about this. So with this I will stop. I will read a Shanti Mantram. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, that supreme manifest Brahma, is infinite and full. Om Purnamadaha. Om Purnamidam. Idam means this world that we see also came from him, is also infinite. In the sense, no one knows how many galaxies there are, how many stars, how many things. This is unbelievable. With all the science, we don't know what are the limits of this universe. And here we are space travelers on a small star called Sun, and then we are on a small planet that's rotating around. The whole thing is moving all the time. We are just space travelers temporarily here. Fullness arises from fullness. That is this infinite, this universe, the physical universe that we see, which itself has no limits, it came from him. Purnat Purnamudachyate. Then if we realize Brahman, that is from this fullness, overcoming this and then finding out really what is the Akhanda Chaitanyam, Purnasya Purnamadaya, when we realize this, Purnameva Vasishyate, that is through realization of infinity, only that remains is fullness, the Brahman himself. That's what it says. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So with that I will stop. Swasti.